Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. My name is Amanda and in today's video we're going to be doing a Sims 4 speed build, and for this one we're going to be doing the third apartment for the 4 rent apartments that I built. So the full video for this exterior is up on my channel, and then we did build the first apartment, the second apartment, and today we're going to be doing the third apartment. So if you'd like to see those previous videos, I will leave the playlist linked in the description box below, as they was a lot of fun to do. For today's apartment, we're going to be doing a apartment for a single dad and his teenage son who has recently come to live with him. So this is a very small sized 1-bedroom apartment, and I kind of envisioned that he was living here on his own, and then last minute, very recently, his teenage son has come to live with him, and he's had to do some few changes to the apartment to get his son some space. So he's given the bedroom to his son, and he's kind of turned his living and kitchen room into a bedroom area as well. So we had a small space to work with, but I quite liked how it turned out. I have got to play test this, so there might be some little tweaks that you'll see in the screenshots that might be slightly different to the video. But coming on in, we're doing this kitchen, and it's a fairly decent sized kitchen, I'd say. I fitted in a lot of upper cabinets, kind of thinking that they would act as a good storage, but I wanted this to obviously look as though it was a fairly spacious 1-bedroom apartment, and you know, he had his style on it. I wanted for a little bit of a darker look for this one, especially compared to the two previous apartments that we've done in this block. The first apartment we done right at the start of spring, and I went for a very spring vibe with it, and then for the second apartment we done a single mom and her infants apartment, and that was all very neutral and pretty, so it was nice to go into this one and do a bit of a darker theme. Now in the kitchen I did want to have the regular kitchen clutter, but then I did also want to add in a few other things, because I kind of wanted to imagine that 1, teenagers can be a little bit messy, and 2, that there might not necessarily be enough space anymore to have their stuff, you know, for stuff to just all have its place. So a lot of things maybe get left out in the kitchen. So you'll see I do add down the headphones at some point. There's some books up on the shelf. Maybe before there used to be more kitchen items there. I kind of wanted to give off that impression. So I only used the small lower fridge for this build as well, so we could come in and add some clutter on top of this. And as you see there, we've got the microwave, and I added the pots and pans on top of the microwave, kind of just giving off that bit of a realistic lived in space. And then I did add down this bowl with the mobile phone and the keys in, because it was a single dad and I envisioned that he works quite long hours. I wanted to make sure that the coffee machine was placed down there as well. And then here I just added down the stack of CDs. I'd imagined that they got left out. We did pop down a stereo, and then here I'm just popping down some teenage clutter. So we've got the hat and the headphones. I envisioned that maybe the dad worked something in kind of like graphics design, so I popped down the little tablet and pen pot clutter item there, and then I'm just coming in and adding a few little random bits. I wanted to make sure that it did still look kind of stylish, because I wanted to imagine that maybe the dad was a little bit of a bachelor living here before, and I really liked the hint of industrial that come through in this apartment as well. So like I said, I imagined that he's had to just last minute turn this living area into a bedroom as well. So the Murphy bed was perfect for this. If you would rather a proper bed, you could swap this out for the single bed. I have yet to play test if the Murphy bed works, so I'm going to do that as soon as I finish this voiceover. So this might actually be something that ends up changing. But then I did want to still make sure that there was a TV, so I placed this small wall TV down. I do also add down a laptop near the sink area as well. I couldn't fit much else in this space, so it kind of was just working with what we could. So I kind of went in and added things like the rug, so we could add some decor in without taking up too much floor space. And then I do the same for the walls as well. I pop down some wall decor in places. I squeezed a little lamp over into this corner, but I switched it out for this more industrial metal looking one, because this really suited the vibe more for for the kitchen and the stalls. I actually really loved how this apartment turned out. I wanted to imagine that he does quite like cooking, so I added in the knives as well, just to make the kitchen feel like quite a used kitchen space. Maybe he enjoys coming home after work and cooking. We're then going to move on in to the teenage son's room. So I went with quite a neutral wall, and then I'm just going to come in, I add in a high sleeping bed so that we could pop down the desk, because I imagined he's into gaming and streaming, so I popped down the streaming computer. I sized down these lights. I think these make great gaming style lights, so I popped these down behind the desk as well. And then I kind of wanted to make this area look a bit like a makeshift background, because you know, a lot of the time as streamers, they're going to have like quite a cool background going on, and I imagined he's recently moved in, so he hasn't got the background of his dreams, but he's added in just a few posters so that there's not a plain wall. I then decided to pop down these pictures because I thought these looked great, as though maybe the dad used to have these up on the wall when it was his bedroom and he's had to just take them down. And then I did also pop down the suitcase as well, because I did imagine, I had quite a fun storyline in my head going on for this sim, as you can tell, but I kind of imagined that this teenage sim, he still goes home or to his mom's house. He still has like a good relationship with her, so he maybe goes and stays there on the weekend, but perhaps he's just decided to move in with his dad, maybe because he's got more in common with his dad. But I wanted it to still seem as though he has a good relationship with his mum, so just by popping down the suitcase, it gives off the impression that he regularly goes back to stay there. Because it was a teenager's room, I did want to come in and add a little bit of mess, so we've popped down some clothes piles, and I went for a mix of dirty clothes and then clean clothes, because having a teenager myself, I know that this seems to be quite a common thing, where a nice clean pile of washing ends up in amongst a bunch of dirty clothes. I did then also add in the boxing bag and just some other sport clutter, and then just a few little bits on the walls. And we're then going to move on into the bathroom. Now the bathroom is a fairly small size bathroom, but I didn't feel as though it needed a too big one for this apartment, and we're going to keep it quite simple. I'm using the same cabinets that we've got in the kitchen, and I wanted this to look a fairly modern space, but adding in some of that lived in realistic clutter that you would get with a dad and his teenage son. I kind of just tried to add in a few little clutter items here and there, but because it was quite a small space, I didn't want to overdo it. And then that does bring us to the end of the video, so I shall leave you with the screenshots. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know what you would like to see the next theme for the next apartment. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do consider hitting that subscription button. Lots of love, take care, bye bye.